Welcome back, everybody. Today, we are going to be covering the best player on every Sweet 16 team this year in March Madness. But before we get into the video, I would just like to say, been loving the support recently on the videos. It's been great. If you would be willing to drop a subscribe, drop a like, greatly appreciated. Not necessary. But let's just get in the video now. Starting off, we got number 16, Kentucky. Their best player is Otega Oweh. He's a junior forward. So far throughout the tournament, he's been averaging 17.5 points per game, 6 rebounds, 1.5 steals. Kentucky's beat Troy and Illinois. Otega, he's a good prospect. Really, with this Kentucky team, you could pick any of their top 3 guys. Lamont Butler, if Jackson Robinson was playing, he'd probably maybe have a spot here. But it's just because they've just filled this team with transfers, and they're all just solid role players, and they just fit a cohesive unit more than they have one guy that really leads the team. Otega Oweh has just been one of the highlight guys so far for them in March Madness. And moving on to number 15, we have Ole Miss. They have Sean Padula. He's been their best player so far in March Madness, helping them take down Iowa State. He's averaging 20 points per game, 6.5 assists, averaging 3 steals per game. Great defensive perimeter guy. Also, great playmaker. Been just leading this team all around. They have tons of guards, and he's just been the one that's really showed out so far. He might be drafted. It's kind of up in the air. He's probably going to be one of those guys that's on a 2-way contract with an NBA team later in the season next year. But he's solid. He's pretty good. Definitely someone to look out for as they play. I believe they are playing Michigan State next. Definitely a game to be focusing on him. Moving on, we have number 14 with Arkansas. Their best guys, Boogie Fland. Not really their best guy, just probably one of the guys that I would watch out for. He's a freshman point guard. So far, kind of underwhelming March Madness run for him. Only averaging 6 points per game on kind of poor efficiency, but hopefully with the next couple games, I think they're playing Texas Tech next. Hopefully he steps up, can make a bigger impact for this team, because he's projected to go in the lottery at Arkansas. He was committed to Kentucky, and then he just followed Coach Cal to Arkansas. Good player. Definitely going to be fun to watch in the NBA. Really shifty point guard. Moving on, number 13, we got Michigan with Danny Wolf. They're more new age center. They run that 2 big man lineup with Danny Wolf and Golden. And Wolf is the more he'll stretch the floor. He can shoot threes. He can play make. So far with the tournament, he's been averaging 11.5 points per game, 10 rebounds per game, 3 assists, and 2.5 blocks. They have the good wins over UC San Diego and Texas A&M. And if Danny Wolf enters the draft this year, he'll probably be an early second round pick. He's projected around that range, at least so far. Moving on to number 12, we got Jace Richardson for Michigan State. So far, he's been having a solid March Madness performance. He's been averaging 10.5 points per game, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, 1 steal. They got the wins over Bryant in New Mexico. He's been kind of flying up the draft boards recently because of his good performances near the end of the Big Ten conference play. He was dropping 15 a night easily. So he's projecting the lottery so far, and he's a flashy player. I believe he's Jason Richardson's son. Definitely someone that's going to be exciting to see what they do in the NBA, because he's not going to be in college for much longer. Let's see what he does against Ole Miss, and we can go from there, see if he keeps flying up these draft boards. Moving on, number 11, we have Arizona with Caleb Love. Maybe a year or two he would have been a little higher, but recently, he is a very good point guard. Don't get me wrong. He's a great scorer. I've been watching Caleb Love while he's at Arizona, while he was at UNC. Everyone has. The thing about him is, if he's not shooting well, he's not going to stop shooting. And you like that about a player, but to some degree, some of those shots are just not it, man. He so far in the tournament, he's been playing phenomenally. He's had 19.5 points per game, 8 rebounds per game as a point guard. Just great for him. And then 4 assists. They got the wins over Akron and Oregon. If he's going to be drafted, he's going to go in the late second round. He's going to be one of those senior guys that just gets picked up, maybe a two-way contract at the beginning of his career. We'll see what he does, but so far we'll see how Arizona goes, how far they go against Duke. It's going to be a tough game, but he's shown out against Duke before, so that is definitely someone to watch, someone to be on your radar in these next Sweet 16 games. Moving on, number 10, with Houston, we have LJ Cryer, senior point guard. So far been showing out in the tournament. Had a great game against Gonzaga, averaging 22.5 points per game, 3.5 assists, 1.5 rebounds, 1 steal. Again, he's another one of those guys where he's probably going to go in the late second round, maybe undrafted. He's not on some boards. He's on some boards. It's really just if a team really likes him with training camps and everything. But we'll see. Or at the combine. We'll see. Yeah, Houston, they could potentially lose in this next round because they're one of the weaker 1 seeds, but they could also win it all. You never know. They've been fun to watch. It's definitely full of guys that are really should be on your radar, like Emmanuel Sharp, Juwan Roberts, LJ Cryer is just probably the one guy that's been showing out the most for me recently. Moving on, number 9, Tennessee. We got Chaz Lanier, senior shooting guard, been balling out, averaging 25 points per game, 1.5 assists, 4.5 rebounds, 1.5 steals. They got the wins over Wofford and UCLA. He's actually been climbing up boards a little bit. Late first round pick now. He transferred over from North Florida last year, and he's been balling out. He kind of fit the role that Dalton Knecht left, where he's just a sharpshooter. I think he had 5 threes against Wofford and something like 7 threes against UCLA. He is just lights out from beyond the arc. He's another guy to look out for against Kentucky. He could get hot. All right, and next we have number 8, Alabama, with Mark Sears, senior point guard. He's averaging 17 points per game in the tournament so far, 6.5 assists, 2.5 rebounds. They had that close game against Robert Morris, and they beat St. Mary's. He was probably higher on some boards last year, and this year is just, it's not been a down year. It's just been kind of a down year. I gotta admit, he's not really showing out as much as he did last season, dropping those 30 bombs in March and just balling out. He is still a great story. I could see him on an NBA team next year for sure. He'll go in the late second round. He has the leadership abilities. He's just a small point guard, so there's only so much space for that in the NBA right now. Moving on, number 7, we got Purdue with Braden Smith. Yeah, looking at him, you might not think he's better than some of those other guys, but he just is a stat stuffer. 15 points per game, 5.5 assists, 3.5 rebounds, 2 steals. He shoots the lights out. He is great playmaker. Just he does everything. He does everything you want a point guard. He's just the base point guard, the sample point guard, if I would say. Might go in the draft in 2026. I don't see him entering this year. He's probably going to play out his career with Purdue. I see him as a lifer. Be one of those guys, another senior point guard next year that'll enter the draft, and I would see him probably going in the late first round, I would say, next year. Moving on, number 6, Florida with Walter Clayton. I would love to put this guy higher, but there's just so many great talented guys in this March Madness still. He's a senior point guard. He's been averaging 23 points per game, 1.5 assists, 4 rebounds. With the wins over Norfolk State and that really close game against UConn, he really just showed out at the very end, and that's what you want one of your star players to do. He moved up this ranking for me after that game because of just they were able to put the ball in his hands and trust him near the end of that game, and that is what you need from a player because UConn didn't have that. They thought Liam McNeely maybe could get that shot off. Solomon Ball would maybe be able to get someone to work, but Walter Clayton was just too much. His offensive game is too good. And now we'll see what they can do. They're still my champions. I don't have any doubt in them. They have a really tough game against Maryland coming up next. It'll be really fun. It'll be really entertaining. I love that matchup. It'll just be tough to see who will win. Moving on, number 5, we got BYU with Igor Demin. freshman point guard. He's from overseas. He's been averaging 13 points per game, 5 assists per game, 6 rebounds per game. He's a point guard, but he's also like 6'7", 6'8". He's that Josh Giddey kind of style, but he's a better player than Josh Giddey. I mean, Josh Giddey's been balling out for the Bulls recently, but we all know his scouting report when he was going in the NBA. Igor's similar style, but just different game. Realistically, he just has a higher ceiling, I would say. He's been shooting up draft boards. Preseason, he was projected very, very high, and he's been staying around that. He had an injury through the midseason, but he's back, and he's been playing pretty solid for them. He's helped this BYU team get to the Sweet 16, and we'll see if they can make it any further. Definitely a prospect that's gonna be interesting to see what he does in the NBA. Then we got JT Toppin at number 4 with Texas Tech. Great, just one of the best centers in all college basketball right now. It's only a sophomore, been averaging 18.5 points per game, 11.5 rebounds, 2 blocks. They got the wins over UNC Wilmington and Drake. If he goes in the draft this year, which I would say it wouldn't be a bad idea to do. He's probably going to go in the late first round. He is one of those just like dominant college bigs, but you don't know exactly how well the game is going to transfer to the NBA. But he does have the ability to stretch the floor. Whenever he does shoot threes, he hits them. It's low volume, but it's high efficiency, and that's what you like from a center. Realistically, you want to be able to trust them while also not having them just be a shot chucker if they really aren't that consistent. So he definitely has room to grow, especially only being a sophomore and this dominant already. That's why I have him so high, is just the potential here, and I believe we're going to see him in the NBA, and he could be a force to be reckoned with, Moving on, though, number 3, we have Maryland with Derek Queen, and this guy is definitely going into the NBA this season. He is a projected top 10 pick, freshman center. He had that crazy game winner against Colorado State just yesterday. Everyone's been talking about it, the highlight of March Madness so far. He's been averaging 14.5 points per game, 10.5 rebounds per game, 2 blocks, with the great wins over GCU and Colorado State. The Maryland team has just been a force to be reckoned with, and he's been the front of that as a freshman. It's impressive, honestly. And I'm excited to see him in the NBA. Whatever NBA team gets him is going to be lucky to have him. Then number 2, Auburn, got Janai Broom. I was thinking about maybe moving him down below some of these younger guys, but realistically, with college basketball, the National Player of the Year race is down to him and the first player. And even though he hasn't been doing that well in March, he's still that kind of player where he could have a dominant next 3 games, and no one will remember that against Alabama State and Creighton he only averaged 11 points per game and 11.5 rebounds per game. And then going in the draft this year, he's probably going to be another one of those early second round, maybe late first round guys if he heats up. Might drop late second round if he doesn't heat up. It's just something that we'll see as the tournament progresses. And moving on to the number 1 spot, you all probably know it by now if you did process of elimination, but if you don't, number 1 is Duke with Cooper Flagg. Surprise, surprise. Freshman power forward. Best prospect since Wemby. It's not saying much, but it's still definitely an achievement. He's going to be the number 1 pick this year. He's a generational finisher, averaging 16 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, 5.5 assists per game, 1.5 blocks per game. Just great all-around player, if we're being honest. And yeah, there you have it. That's my list of the ranking every Sweet 16 March Madness team by their best player. If you thought someone else was the best player on one of these teams, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching. Again, appreciate all the support on these recent videos. And last time, if you would just like and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. I will see you guys in the next March Madness video.